Sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McCleary, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health, heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in each and every day. Today, well, he's back, and he continues to come back because, well, he's just an exciting guest, very good speaker, knowledgeable. Well, we call him the King of Oregano, as well as the King of Chagra, as well as the King of SOD. He's just the king. His name is Dr. Cass Ingram, and he's going to be our featured guest today. Of course, Cass is frequently coming on our show here, and you may want to offer up a question today. We have, I think, a little more loosely constructed show than ever. If in the course of our discussion with Dr. Ingram, you want to ask him any question at all regarding the whole concept of oregano and chaga and the like, the number to do that is 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. The King of Oregano himself, Dr. Cass Ingram, our guest today. Now, the way the calendar is shaping up, and we have come in and we are going out with a roar. The month of June is in full bloom right now. I enjoyed, and did you not enjoy our little time we spent with Mr. Walter Groats on Monday? You can just tell that history spills off of this guy. I'll let you know, by the way, if you really want the information that will back up much of what he started our discussion with, I'm going to refer you to a website that I think you wouldn't come up with on your own. When we got off air on Monday, Walter was telling me, well, you know what, just go to my website at, now here it is, folks. Write this one down because you'll never come up with this on your own, and you'll get all of the videos, audios, pictures of himself and Father Wilhelm that I think make, just make the entire topic much more friendlier and folksy like, okay? Anyway, the website is www.foodgrade, that's foodgrade dash, got to put that dash in, foodgrade dash hydrogenperoxide.com. So once again, www.foodgrade-hydrogenperoxide.com for what really is the entire story on hydrogen peroxide as seen through the eyes of Walter Groats. It's his own website, as well as some great testimonial information about Father Wilhelm. I didn't think I knew much about him just from our discussion with Walter, but when you get to the website and you get a chance to learn a little more about him, you feel pretty much very friendly and great thoughts with regard to Father Wilhelm. Anyway, that website, once again, www.foodgrade-hydrogenperoxide.com. Now, he's not done with dealing with Pittsburgh. Obviously, we brought him on our show on Monday because he is the featured speaker up at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group. Now, that's going to be held tomorrow night. It's out of sequence. Yes, I know. Normally, well, nothing's normal about the group anymore. This is on the second Thursday, normally on the third, but it is held at the Days Inn just south of Butler there on the right-hand side. Going to be at 7 o'clock. Walter Groats coming to town, he and his wife together, and I'm sure he'll have a heck of a story to tell you all, those who take the time to go up and see him. It's Walter Groats on Thursday evening. On Friday, we'll be back here working on our weekly roundup, our Get 'em Up Out of Town version of the show. We'll let you call in also during that and ask any questions, make any comments you'd like. When we hit the weekend, well, I mentioned a couple of times, I'll mention again, especially those who have eye issues. Dr. Edward Condrat does his radio show on KFNX 1100 in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, you don't have any radios powerful enough to receive that station. Nonetheless, he does stream the show up live while it's being done. And so I'm going to be the featured guest this weekend, Sunday evening. Now, it's 8 o'clock our time, 5 o'clock their time. Those of you who have eye issues or just want to hear something going on at 8 o'clock after, dark will be approaching, I guess the better way to say it. All you need to do is hit your computer, www.kfnx1100.com. KFXN1100.com. You'll see a icon there for schedule, and then you just click on the schedule, and then you go to the Sunday evening 5 o'clock slot. That's the Phoenix, Arizona time. Click on it, and you will be there. Let's see. Next week, Wednesday, newly booked guest name of Jeffrey Burke. Jeff Burke is going to be here. He's a naturopathic physician, wants to talk about five nutrition tips to stay healthy this summer. I think it's interesting, the title at least. We'll hear from Jeffrey Burke next Wednesday. Then the following week, just booked this one too. It's been a month or two, more like 2 months, since we last had Roland with us. Now, Roland is affiliated with a product I really feel is the most unique supplement to come down the line in a long time. He has teamed up with Dr. Michael Kiriak, who we actually did have on the radio show last time we were together, as the inventor of what they call BAC, B-A-C. That's bioengineered algae concentrates. There's just no finer, simple supplement out there that can do so many things and would be considered organic to boot. We're going to be with Roland Thomas on the 20th, bringing up some additional issues about the bioengineered algae concentrates. You have responded well, Pittsburgh, to it. I hope those of you who are trying it are getting benefit. Love to hear from you, by the way. It's appropriate time to do it on the 20th when we're with Roland. Then on the 22nd, Jesse Canone is going to be with us. He is a physician. I think he's a chiropractic physician, I'm not sure, talking about a 6-step back pain rescue plan. Those of you who have back pain, I'm always interested in this topic. I deal with a lot of chronic pain issues myself, not as a patient of them, but one who treats them and been doing so for many years. So with great listening, I will be awaiting the arrival of Dr. Jesse Canone. That's the way June is shaping up, folks. Looking into the month of July, I can let you know that Susan Smith-Jones, of course, is going to be with us on the 6th of July. She seems to be following the holidays, but because it'll be the 4th of July, and then first show back, she'll be with us. David Brownstein is going to return also in the month of July. He has had multiple speaking engagements, or he would have been here sooner. Anyway, he's going to be talking about another book of his. I've mentioned it many times now. I think it is a great discussion, especially with what I think has occurred out there in the medical world. They have pretty much put together a salt scare generation that don't go near salt, don't eat salt, cut your salt, lower your salt. Well, how about this for the title of a book? And I think it gives away where our discussion is going to go. Salt, your way to health. Now, if that flies in the face of what you think salt is all about, then I hope you pay attention and listen to Dr. Brownstein's discussion of this topic. I think it will be very enlightening to you. And a newly inked guest will be coming in July also. His name is Lee Waller. He's going to be talking about sustainable weight loss, meaning, you know how many times those of you who lose weight do lose it, and then you put it back on, and it's up and down, and it's a roller coaster. Well, maybe some concrete information finally on sustainable weight loss from Lee Waller, and that is the calendar as I see it at this very moment as I add to it I'll let you know all about it, Pittsburgh, and keep you informed as that occurs. All right, let's do this. Let's take a short break. In the interim, I'm going to go find our doctor friend, Dr. Cass Ingram. We're going to be talking about oregano today and chagra. You all know about chagra now. Anything on your mind is okay with us. We're going to give us a call at 412-825-6262. Be back in a moment.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctor's visits cost for last year's colds and flu? Oh, I'm sorry, I've got to go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches, soda. That's a lot of sugar. We could all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit. Fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits with herbs and minerals. We could add some to our breakfast protein shake. Fruit of the spirit is unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the spirit contains fresh fruits native to the Holy Land and alkalizing minerals from the Dead Sea. With no added sugars, Fruit of the spirit is a unique product from 5 years of work from science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, blessed for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a glitch. This is Dr. Dennis Courtney. Welcome you back to AM Impact on Your Health. Here on a Wednesday morning version of the show. Had Dr. Ingram with us, lost him, went and found him again. We are now back. We are live. And we are with a friend of ours who, he just is so knowledgeable about the natural ways of treating just about everything. We refer to him many times as the king of oregano. Now the king of chagra. He's just the king, period. There's not a subject he's not well versed on, and especially in a way to do so without the use of pharmaceuticals and in the way of rectifying whatever medical problem comes your way. Of course, is a gentleman who's gone all over the world now lecturing and has probably been in more of the woods in the back areas of the world than any other single individual, at least that I know. His name, Dr. Cass Ingram. He's back with us again. Good morning and welcome back, Cass. Nice to hear from you.
Good morning. Great to be back again. It's really great to be talking about all these natural things and how they work on the body and how for every disease there is a cure. You just have to know which one goes with which disease.
Well, I thought, and we were talking a little bit off air before we got to this point today. We talk so oftentimes about something in the news and or some disease process. I mean, the last time, of course, we got carried away talking about the thing going on in Japan that then, by virtue of the climate and everything, is now dumped on us. And of course, that's timely, and there's a way to deal with those issues as they come up. And you're so helpful because you get a timely topic, and then you talk to us about how best to handle it without worrying about using a drug approach. Many times, there's not even a drug approach to do it.
Right.
And so what I thought today to do, because I didn't see where there was a particular topic you had in mind, is to allow our listeners to hear from you, the King, how you view and how you take a look at this entire product line of natural products with, I think, oregano has been in the #1 slot since the inception of where you got involved with this.
Yeah.
But so many other products you literally discovered. You were the one who found out about them. You bring them to the market. You bring the research to us. And so if I could impose upon you, and I think in a way that our listeners would really benefit today, in hearing from the King himself, how they should be utilizing products like this, a discussion would be invaluable in that regard.
Well, there is one thing in the news, which is a food poisoning or
Oh, yeah.
a mutant germ. And in that respect, if you ever did get a sudden bacterial shock, some kind of a fulminant vomiting and diarrhea, or even a sepsis, or really harsh fever that wasn't viral, then there's nothing better than the super strength oil of oregano itself to obliterate that. And it's just something you need to know. Back in 1918, Cabela's Pasteur Institute took raw sewage. He then added beef broth to the sewage to make, as if you need to make sewage even more excited than it already is. And then he titrated some oil of oregano into that sewage water. He sterilized the sewage. It could not re-inoculate the Petri dishes. He had so sterilized it. And it was only in a 1 in 1,000 solution. So we're a bag of water. And if we've got the pathogens in that water, or in the colon, or in the bloodstream, then we can reliably use that oil of oregano under the tongue, that juice of oregano, to destroy that, and then therefore save a life or save all that misery and agony of travel. But there's a lot more to it than that. A lot of us do know about oregano as a germicide, and maybe as an antifungal. I use it for a wide spectrum of illness. And see, again, it's just how do you match the problem with the stuff? And in this case, you need to know that for chronic exhaustion syndromes, chronic fatigue, arthritis, stiffness of the spine, ankylosing spondylitis, I turn to oregano for those things.
Now, do you feel that it's so helpful? Because one thing you can get, I wrap my mind around the fact that you look at this as a wonderful antimicrobial, and I think you just said that as long as it's not viral. Would you amplify that? So,
well, it just, people do know that, actually people do use oregano for colds and flu, but they don't realize that so it is antiviral.
Okay.
They don't realize that it's extremely powerful against bacteria. So for your strep throats, your tonsillitis, and things where you run to the antibiotics, this is more powerful, more effective, no side effects. It doesn't induce a candida in the bowel, It doesn't wipe out the good bacteria as vigorously as your drug.
So you would not need a probiotic.
Probiotics would be good if you're taking huge doses, but when you just need to take, if you've got a sore throat, you're pounding your oregano oil 5 drops 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, whatever it takes to get it out, or if you have a food poisoning, you don't have to take a probiotic. You're just using it short term. But where the probiotic comes in really invaluably with oregano therapy is if when I put somebody on 20 drops 4 times a day or something.
Okay.
Or 40 drops 4 times a day for herpes or shingles. I'm putting them on big doses or for really deep-seated fungus.
Then, of course, a probiotic is great, and I use the Health Back by the same company. They make something called Health Back, and that implants very vigorously. It's very interesting material from Europe. But, again, a lot of us don't know all the versatility of the wild oregano, even though you probably do have the cures in the cupboard. We don't know that, if we did have a chronic condition that isn't obviously like a food poisoning or a cold or sore throat or a sinus or a bronchial. We've got chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. Then it could very well be inflammatory bowel, Crohn's disease. It could very, very easily be fungal infestation. It could be a chronic virus. And so it's still infectious. So it's still important to use the oregano. But when it's chronic like that, chronic Lyme as well, you got to move in with some of the other ones, not just the oil. Listen, people, you move in with the juice. Maybe you move in with the Oregamax if it's like an arthritic inflammatory thing. Maybe you move in with the Oregacillin, Oregacillin over your way. When it's really, really a chronic inflammatory, painful thing, you move in with not just the oil, but the other two products, you see.
Is there it's antimicrobial in all of the forms, viral, bacterial, fungal, I keep hearing you say. What about parasitic?
Parasitic, a little bit more relaxed. In other words, it's a reasonable anti-parasitic, but we have to bring in some bigger guns. If we've got tapeworm, if we've got flukes, if we've got schistosomiasis, if we have, for example, roundworms and so on. However, here's where oregano is king in the parasitic world. Amoeba, amoebic dysentery, Giardia, Cryptosporidium. For those protozoans, those little protozoans, it'll obliterate them. But sometimes these parasites are trapped up in the liver or the deeper parts of the colon, and you have to come in with something like IntestiCleanse and the purge, that total purge. They drink that down, they squirt some IntestiCleanse, they squirt some oregano, and off we go to the races. May have to add in some black seed to really open up the colon, and really open up the gallbladder and liver, and get some bigger stools going.
Is there, to the best of your knowledge, is there a mechanism, because you and I are men of science, is there a mechanism of action on how it is that these things do what they do?
Well, yeah, the oregano oil contains simple phenols, the carbachol, a little bit of thymol, and they have an OH group on them. It's like a torpedo molecule. It's a simple benzene ring with an OH group sitting on the tip.
Okay.
And what happens is that, and anybody knows this by taking oregano oil, when you take it, it's hot. If you take it under the tongue, you feel the heat. If you rub it on your skin and then run water over that skin, you're going to feel the heat. As soon as the oregano carbachol touches water, as soon as it dissolutes into the water, then the hydrogen comes off. So you have all these billions of hydrogen molecules creating a mini hydrogen bomb in the water environment. The bacteria are 95% water. Viruses are mostly fluid, unless they're crystalline. Your parasites are 95% water, your amoebas and so on. And so that hydrogen gets in there, and then the free oxygen, or the oxygen bonded to the tip, dives into the bacterial wall, and it blows it up.
Now, there's the first time I've ever heard an explanation, the mechanism. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me. I had to know, and it certainly sounds as though this mechanism is pretty sophisticated, and that it has been well known for some time. It's just never come up in any of our conversations before.
No, and no one ever really understood this mechanism. But there have been some researchers that have been puzzled. At Ogden State University, I believe it was, they did a study on strep in the mouth, bad strep. They gave the oregano oil, and they said, we're shocked. The bacteria were melted. The guts of the bacteria came out. So there you have it. You see it blew up the cell membrane of the bacteria. And now there's another mechanism of action, is that they found out, this is why the Almighty God makes great medicine, because he knows the human body. I mean, it's kind of a funny way of looking at it, but if you really did believe that you were a created being, then the same thing would happen with the herbs. They would match. So they found out that the oregano, at the same time, it stops the enzymes inside the bacteria from working, or the enzymes inside the parasite.
Second
it doesn't harm the human enzymes, but it shuts theirs down. And then the other thing, like the endoplasmic reticulum inside such a germ, it's completely destroyed.
Well, that's the plumbing. That's the plumbing for a cell. That's
the plumbing, exactly. The plumbing inside that allows that thing to synthesize, so you can't get any mutations. The oregano cannot induce a mutated germ because it takes out this internal circulatory system of the germ, and so it's breaking the cell membrane, it's melting it, it's a solvent, so it dissolves it, and it dehydrates it too.
Never have I heard such great explanations on how this stuff works. I had never asked the question. You'd never really volunteered it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing it first here. And the multiple prongs of attack that appear available to oregano that don't really happen in even the pharmaceutical world. The pharmaceuticals take one prong of attack, usually. And then there usually are such consequences for that prong. Here, if I hear you correctly, multiple prongs of attack, yet no real consequence to any of the prongs, if I hear you right.
And it's a beautiful thing because it's in a proper dosage, or in a proper form, I should say, like this T73 oil or this oregacillin material. In that form, it doesn't have any harm to, like, the blood cells, like a white cell or a red cell or whatever. The only thing with oregano is if you take excessive amounts, it can be a little bit irritating to the lining of your mouth or the lining of the stomach. It's a temporary thing. That's the maximum. It's like eating raw garlic. You know? It can be a little irritating to some people. But no cell death, no organ trouble. We have measured oregano oil in high amounts in a clinical trial on hepatitis C. And you just, even with 200, 400 drops a day, you do not see any kidney trouble, do not see any liver trouble whatsoever. On the contrary, in healthy people, we've been giving, say 40 to 80 drops a day, and then we would measure their liver enzymes, and the liver enzymes, the SGOT and GPT and GGT, those things improve. Now, I have an explanation for the mechanism of that. So here we're taking 200 drops of something like the T73 a day, or they're taking, 8 or 10 Oregamax, they're drinking the juice like a fish, and yet their liver enzymes and their kidney improve. The mechanism is that the carvacrol and the thymol and the terpenes, they duplicate as a potent antioxidant. So it's a oxidative redux system, we call it in the sciences, It's a flip system. It flips from an oxidative agent, and it kills the bacteria, then it flips to an antioxidant. So as it's killing the bacteria or the virus or the parasite or the fungus, as it's doing that, the free radicals are generated, and then the oregano sops up the free radicals. One study by investigators where they took porcine cells, and they hit them with hydrogen peroxide, and another one where they hit them with radiation, created a tremendous amount of free radicals. Then they fed oregano oil to the cells. They said that the cells imbibed themselves. They sopped up the oregano and shut down all the inflammation, raised the SOD level. The glutathione levels went up 700%. So there's a double mechanism of action. They said that the oregano oil by itself sopped up free radicals, but simultaneously it pumped up the SOD, simultaneously 700%, sevenfold. It preserved it shot the glutathione up 700%, and then it preserved the SOD. That's very impressive.
Yeah, those are the body's own natural antioxidants, that intracellular antioxidants that The SOD issue came out ever so powerfully when we were talking last time about how does one deal with medical X-ray exposure, and talking about chaga and how it increases the SOD, the superoxide dismutase levels. I think you said 5,000 times the normal. Did I get the number right?
Yeah, well, the chaga has, if you take a 20-pound chaga, it can be up to 3 pounds, 5 pounds even, SOD by weight. That's unheard of. So if you had a 20-pound sack of flour, it's not going to be 5 pounds superoxide dismutase. And so what happens when you take chaga is you're just eating SOD, basically, or you're drinking it.
All right, I'm going to get to chaga in just a second. To bring this this oregano issue, you have it in, North American urban spice people that really have taken your work and they make a product out. I think every time you come out of the woods, they go, okay, Cass, what do we make this time? Because it seems like you come up with a new way of handling this, and they listen to your every instruction, and it's worked well for them and for you, and for us who need to use these products. You keep talking about oil. Is there any advantage if I'm a listener trying to figure out the wide variety of ways that this oregano comes to me? In the oil, it comes in capsules, it comes in gels. Is there, because I don't think I could handle that oil under the tongue, okay? So I'm saying personally.
Yeah, I take the gel caps too, the oil under the tongue is, I take a couple gel caps a day at least, yeah?
And then that,
as a baseline.
And that gives you the oils, but it gives it to you with that gel coating, so you don't get any oral issues that you would if you put that stuff under your tongue. It would be bothersome to me.
Yeah, and I will use it under the tongue too. I'll use both because I'll have a bottle by my desk and so on. But at least as a baseline, I got my 2 or 3 gel caps I'm downing with about 6 Oregamax, and also the juice. I find the juice to be the kingpin for just feeling good and feeling better and keeping things under control and swigging some of that down. As strong as it is, just getting it into the system. Fighting back the Lyme that I've gotten in the bush many times, fighting back the chronic problems that we got from vaccination. I use a lot of juice for that, and for just liberating the energy stores in the body. I do a lot of oregano oil rubbing, rub them on the bottom of the feet, the shins. Just gives you that much more stuff out for life. It's quite a good purge. The oregano oil. It's purging stuff out of your system. People, we have real problems with getting excessive fungus growing inside our bodies as our bodies break down, and our bodies have broken down quite a bit. We're so surrounded by pollutants. If you took a pound of fat out of any American, you'd find as many as 20,000 toxic chemicals in that fat. We're living with that, right? So be liberal with using your juice, your oil, your Oregamax. And for the tough cases, this Oregacillin/Oregarest, that would be your chronic bronchitis, asthma, your tuberculosis, your extreme chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. Add in that very, very powerful oregano formula. And we've had some success in another realm, which is your psoriasis and eczema, with a different kind of oregano, which is the cream. There is a oreganol cream.
Yes, there is.
And it's exceptional for those, the heartbreak of psoriasis and the eczematous lesions. Thoroughly, if you want to be thorough about it, then you add in this Oregarest/Oregacillin. I say that because Oregacillin is the physician's form.
Yeah, and I guess the public needs to know, folks, there are plenty of places and a lot of health food stores that carry this North American Urban Spice product, the oregano line, in all of its forms. And then there's another strength that goes to just the doctor's offices, and that's called physician strength. By the way, it's interesting. In a physician strength product, there's no mention of North American anywhere on the label. I don't know why that is, but I swear to God, folks, it does come from this company. It's just you can't tell by looking at the bottle.
Yeah, I think they like to keep something for the doctors so they can manage the prescription A lot of times people will then go and start dabbling in their own purchasing, but sometimes physicians like to keep track. I think it's respectable of what people are taking. It's just their brand. But yeah, whenever you see the physician's strength label, it's made by North American Urban Spice. The other thing is that with something like Oregacillin, is that if you take it consistently, and usually people have to take that one with meals, it's very strong, very, very potent.
I think that's another thing should be said. The physician strength line is on the order of a magnitude of sort of double dosage, right? That's pretty much...
Well, it depends on the product. It does, but the Oregacillin there is probably the most potent thing of anything North American makes. So it's really more, 10, 15% really increase in strength, because you can only go so far with your oregano.
Mm-hmm.
But what's important is that it's, with physician strength, some of those formulas are different. They've been specifically made with different ingredients, some cases, so that the doctor could use almost like a pharmaceutical effect. But it's still the same natural raw material.
Okay. Now, King of Oregano, you have always been and are, but you've become the king of this chaga thing. And I think it has its own topic. I think one day you went in the woods, you came out, and you said, this time I found chaga. Tell us about the chaga identification.
I was in the far north of Canada, about 15, 20 hours from where you are up,
Okay.
And there was a bushman there, a native guy. He said, have you ever heard of the chaga? I said, I've been in this area for years. No one knows about this stuff. This was about 7 years ago. And he showed it to me. I said, that's very interesting stuff. What does it do? Well, it cures cancer. This was all he said. Well, I said, well, that's very difficult for us to say on radio and television, but give me 400 pounds. I took it down, I don't know, about 4 years ago. I said, I'm not as energetic as I'd like to be. I'm waking up at 10 o'clock instead of, 5, 6 so I can get things done. I'm not writing like I used to. I'm burnt out. Let me try this chaga. So I brewed it up, and I woke up at 4 in the morning the next morning, and I started cleaning up my closet and doing extra things around the house. Think of chaga, it's not caffeine or anything. Think of it as get more done, do more, be more productive, be more intellectual, more. That's what it is. And I didn't totally understand it, but I knew it was very, very important. So I started manipulating it into an emulsion. I had this terrible patch of psoriasis that I picked up from, I think, a dying patient. I had one on each elbow. So I plopped this chaga drops. You have it as Chaga Immune, and it's in the health store. It's called Chaga Power. I squirted it on the telfa, I taped it on my elbows, and I squirted it under the tongue, and it ate the psoriasis off of my elbows.
Outstanding.
See? No one knew anything about chaga in this country, speak of. So I started doing more experimenting. People with prostate problems, because it's so high in sterols, were coming to me, hey, I had a PSA of 50, since you put me on chaga, it dropped to 1. People with neurological problems, inflammation, arthritis, chronic fatigue syndrome. It's gone or 90% better. This is the kind of reports I was getting, and I wrote the book, The Cures in the Forest.
Cures in the Forest. And in the forest, there's an interesting interplay between, chaga is like on, did I remember the story right? Something about being on the birch tree, and it's a symbiotic relationship that it has with the birch, and it protects the birch in one way. And could you give that little story again?
I mean, if lightning strikes a birch tree, usually the chaga will grow like wild. It'll grow over the splintered lesions. If a tree rubs against another tree, if it falls into it,
okay,
starts scraping with wind, then the chaga will try to grow in between.
Oh.
It's a Band-Aid. And it acts like that in the body. It goes around and just heals everything inside your tissue. So you can imagine having this master Band-Aid, biochemical Band-Aid. If you have, let's say, inflammation inside the tissues, if you have injured liver, injured prostate, or injured nervous system, or if you had tick-borne disease and it ate the myelin sheath, and that needs to be repaired, your chaga will go in there and do that. In my case, I needed something to repair the psoriasis inflammation, and the chaga went in there. So, it may not be good for everything, but pretty much now, every sick patient, I will put them on chaga, especially if they're exhausted. I love the chaga for exhaustion syndrome. I don't have the energy. I don't feel so good. I don't know what's wrong. So who knows? Let's just give you the chaga, get your physical strength up, get your vital force back. I don't have any balance in my life. I'm depressed. I'm irritable. I'm anxious. Who knows why it is? So I put them on the chaga tea.
Oh, the tea.
The drops and the capsules.
Yeah.
And I even get energy in people by rubbing the chaga cream on them. That's how unusual this material is. It's so high in SOD, catalase, melanin, sterols. Let's even just talk about the melanin. How in God's name are we going to get melanin into our body? One of the most potent so powerful it is that's the body's selection to fight sunlight. Have you ever seen a black person age? You can't tell the age of our African-American friends because they have so much good melanin in their tissues, or even like Indian people. It protects their skin from aging. So chaga is the richest source of melanin, and we use that cream to block and reverse the aging process of the face, the hands, and then everybody starts saying, how come you look younger? I've been seeing you in 10 years and you went backwards. And that's what chaga does.
I think 1,000 women just heard you and are ordering the product right now to restore.
Well, they could certainly go to AmericanWildFoods.com and that, but they could also harass the people at DeWalt, and I know you're just.
And we carry the full line, and we got plenty of the creams along and the tea.
Cream over there.
Oh yeah, we got the creams in. Just so many new products. Every time I talk to your distributors, they go, "Oh, it's new this month." Sometimes I get a line on products you never even mentioned, and they just developed. You must have come out of the woods about 6 months earlier and said, "We're going to make it this way now."
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing that you could take this chaga and emulsify it in the raw beeswax with the oregano oil and some black seed oil, which the pharaohs used black seed oil, and the women of the pharaohs used it. And then we whipped in some Turkish sesame oil into the beeswax, and that's been anciently used for complexion. But the weirdest thing was that you could actually erase the aging of the face with this. Mm-hmm. That was not expected. It was more made as a medicine and to eliminate dryness and dry patches and lesions.
Cosmetic.
We didn't expect the melanin to do that. The melanin makes the skin youthful.
Great point for our listeners to hear. Hey, speaking of listeners, we have one calling in to ask you a question. You don't mind taking one, do you?
Do I have to talk to people?
If you could, yeah. If you could you do that? Are you too shy? You're too shy. All right, folks. Yes, you have Dr. Cass Ingham with you, and we got a caller on the line. Come on the store. You're with Dr. Ingham. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes.
Last couple times, Dr. Ingham, you were on. You were very informative about radiation effects, and just curious. I've heard a lot about cell phone electromagnetic radiation and its effects. Just curious if you knew anything about, say, a couple things. One, full-size satellite dishes. Do they have any health effects? I'm not talking about, a small dish or direct TV size one. The full-size one, they say for, satellite internet phone. And also, if you have something like an iPad, rather than use the cell phone powers as powering, I know you can get a clip of, say, for a satellite powered frequency.
The iPads have and BlackBerries as well, and they're kind of similar in toxicity to cell phones. Nothing beats the cell phone as a carcinogen, no matter what anybody says. It's the key man-made carcinogen in terms of electronic devices. But But the micros, I don't know if these big satellite dishes are microwave or not. There is a certain amount of toxicity. But you see, the problem with the reason a cell phone is the worst is you've got an extreme concentration of microwave energy right to your head. And an isolated beam going in there, and then it starts brain cancer. If you're a brain cancer developer, with the brain cancer in the United States is up 300%. It's from cell phone.
If you use a say, satellite clip, does the guts of it still have the cell phone technology effect, or would it have some other effect because it being powered by a satellite clip?
Well, the guts still they're still beaming it. Yeah. I don't like cell phones, and I use them rarely. Because I use them rarely, when I do use them, I get a headache. I don't get headaches. I don't need headaches. Every dose of use of a cell phone increases the propensity for brain cancer. The data is that the safe use of a cell phone is 3 minutes a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Tell you something?
What also I've heard, newer electronic devices I hear have a stronger electromagnetic thing, whether it's the new TVs, the new computers, or even anything with an RFID chip. Even say a bank card with RFID chips now put in, do they have health effects?
Yes, they do. When they chipped some cats in Guantanamo, where they were experimenting on animals before they did this miserable prison, the cat that I was associated with, its tail atrophied from the chip, and it had very, very bizarre behavior. So it's going to affect the nervous system. They've seen that the implantation of the chips in humans is associated with like tumor formation, and in animals too. So obviously these are emitting quite a bit of toxicity. I think in microwave form, I'm not sure. But the less of that you've got, the better. Just even a desktop computer produces a fair amount of poison. What I do is I put a rose quartz, around my computer, like a couple of chunks of rose quartz, and it really makes a difference. And then I use a lot of chaga. The reason I just finished a book called the Radiation Detox book or whatever. I wrote 350 pages, and I used the chaga to block the radiation in my body. Very effective. Normally I couldn't write 350 pages in 90 days. I get computer burnout, but I don't with the chaga.
Great question, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Fight this stuff with the chaga, people, and you use the tea, the capsules if you want. Maybe rub the cream on your body. Yeah.
Yeah, that cream is a brand new product, by the way. Brand new product.
Yeah.
We
you
just
have this cream. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they said. Brand new product. It's not even on the list. So.
Yeah. Let me tell you about this. There was a guy who had a thyroid problem, and he was always apathetic and couldn't feel good in the morning, didn't get up early. He rubbed the chaga cream, the one with the brown bar on it, on his thyroid. He woke up at 7 in the morning. For him, was a miracle. And he said he went into the shower and was singing in the shower. It's just a 33-year-old punk, And this poor little guy said, "You know what, Doc? I've never felt so good. I've always thought there's something wrong with me, but this is just after rubbing it on my thyroid gland." I thought that was astonishing.
Well, thyroid disease, as pervasive as it is, to think that you could get a boost in the gland to have it function evidently more appropriately by putting that stuff on topically.
Yeah, you've got an epidemic there. That miserable 3 Mile Island. Talk about radiation.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't even tell anybody. It was beaming neutron beams, and it was beaming gamma radiation, and people were getting burnt up. And you have really to be vigilant about using the chaga out your way.
All right. So with a few minutes remaining now, we've talked about oregano, and certainly it was the originator of all these products. Then chaga, now mentioned it. Is there any other specialty substances, or items in the product line.
What do you have that's different in your dispensary that you're interested in? I mean, do you have the wild greens extract?
No, see, I don't have the wild greens
Okay,
extract.
Let me tell you about that. There is nothing better for constipation, for obstruction in the gallbladder or liver, than using the greens flush and the purge. I mean, that really works beautifully on the gallbladder and the liver. If you take 40 drops of greens flush twice a day under the tongue, you take a couple ounces of purge, and you use it consistently, you will see an improvement from the esophagus all the way down to the rectum. You know, and so those are wild raw greens in a base of, say, extra virgin olive oil or black seed oil. The second thing is the black seed oil for constipation. People who only go once a week, if they add the black seed oil, what I said, they've got a chance to get some normalcy in their life, you see. There's a big action on the gallbladder and liver.
Okay, that is absolutely a specialty product that just came to your mind. Any others that just pop into your mind about specialty items that have such a superior...
We've had some fantastic results with crude pumpkin seed oil and a product called ProstaCleanse. I think Prost, maybe X in the physician's line. With high PSA, with prostatitis, and it's these sterols that are in the pumpkin seed that beat that back better than even saw palmetto. I mean, I think I have probably the best PSA in the universe. I use the pumpkin oil on my salads, and so on. And that's a very famous medicine in Austria. In fact, the pumpkin seed oil from the crude, cold-pressed, unusual Austrian pumpkin, from the black pumpkin seed, was so famous that the Queen of Hungary prohibited it being sold in the marketplace and only reserved it for pharmacies, for prostate disorders, for breast disorders, for fibrocystic breast, for uterine trouble. And even we have found it's effective for weight loss because it's an aromatase inhibitor, blocking all that inflammation in the testosterone estrogen cycle. What else do we see that's sophisticated? Well, I've had some, unusually fantastic results with memory loss, with extract of rosemary, with poor attention span. Plus, rosemary duplicates as an anti-tumor substance. Right there at Penn State University, they discovered that rosemary was more effective than chemotherapy in breast cancer. Yeah? And so you can get rosemary as both the juice of rosemary and the oil of rosemary. At the same time, it's dramatically improving mental acuity, focusing power, focusing while you're driving, memory. Rosemary for remembrance was what the ancients said, right?
Ah, good way to remember. A little anachronism there.
Yeah. And then, as far as creams go, I mentioned a wild oregano-based cream for the skin in terms of like eczema and psoriasis. In terms of dry skin, aging, improvement of beauty, attacking the wrinkles in a natural way, then you move into the chog.
You move into chog with that melanin.
Yeah.
Okay, our listeners are much more educated on this issue of skin and how to bring it to a more youthful glow based on the protection that melanin brings.
And for the thyroid, we give the ThyroSet. And the ThyroPower is there too. That one is about, like you said, that's about twice as powerful, the ThyroPower, than the regular one. And then for the adrenals, you have royal jelly, like the Adrenal Power. So if someone's walking around like a zombie, and they don't have any energy by 2 or 3 in the day, they're finished. That's adrenal. They're craving sugar, they're craving salt, they're craving chocolate. They're nervous, agitated, tapping their feet all the time, bag of nerves, can't handle anything, blow up at anything. That's adrenal exhaustion, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic pain, vague digestive disorders. Can't sleep at night, but yet can't rest. You got to look at the adrenals. They got to be exhausted anyway from all the chefs go through up that way.
Yeah, chronic stress, sure, absolutely.
And for you all should be doing some thyroid support anyway because of the low-level cesium, strontium, and so-called low-level, and radioactive iodine isotopes that are not so easy to degrade. All that garbage that's still in the water and in the soil in eastern Pennsylvania. So, you know, protect yourself. Protect yourself with the chaga, the oregano, and the sarsa. And don't forget, I had big success with Chernobyl cases by giving them the juice of oregano, the oregano oil, the Thyroset, and reversing their, their organ failure from Chernobyl. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
with a minute or two to go, when are you due? Because every time you go in, you come out with more, another interesting little slant. When are you due to go back into the woods next?
I'm supposed to spend a couple of months in a remote area. I'm taking up in the northern Canada because there's not much left here, and then about half a month in northern Wisconsin and Minnesota. I'm taking with me some sophisticated devices that will detect inside a plant if there's any radionuclides from Fukushima. I'm taking a camera with me. I'm going to try to map out to what degree we can find radioactive fallout in the wild nature. Don't forget, I will always talk about this, we still have up to 6 nuclear power reactors that are emitting meltdown radiation constantly. We've never seen this before. Even the crazy Chernobyl, they sarcophagused it in 2 weeks.
All right.
Before, has there been basically the equivalent of 5 or 10 atom bombs going off a day or every few days, whatever it is. You have all that toxicity to add to all the other toxicity. So, at the minimum, do what I'm doing. I'm taking the chaga, I'm taking the
right.
I'm taking the juice.
So be it. Look, glad to hear you're going back in the woods. How about coming back on the show when you come back out?
Well, right as soon as I get out, I'll call you long distance and we'll do something.
All right, let's do something. Cass, thank you so much. A great show today. First time we ever did one like this. Our listeners really benefited. Have a wonderful time in the woods. We'll see you when you get up, buddy. There you have it, folks. The king, well, he's just the king. We'll be back on Friday with you with a worldwide wrap-up. And until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Dr. Cass Ingram saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942